It's late, and the message is already typed. You've read it back 4 times. You took out the line that sounded too eager. You rewrote the casual one twice so it wouldn't look like it took 2 tries. And now your thumb is just resting there, over send, and underneath the hovering is a question you've carried so long you stopped noticing it was even there. If I don't do this, does anything happen at all? You know this feeling better than you'd like to admit. You're the one who reaches out first. You're the one who suggests the next plan. You're the one who keeps a conversation from going cold by feeding it quietly from your side every single time. And somewhere in all that initiating, you got tired in a way sleep doesn't touch. Because carrying something that was supposed to be able to move on its own is its own particular kind of exhausting, and if you sit with it long enough, you'll find there's a second thing underneath the tiredness, quieter and sharper. Because somewhere along the way, you started to believe that the reason it's always you who moves first is that you're not worth being moved for. That if someone really wanted you, you wouldn't have to be the one reaching. So you reach, and every time you reach, the lie gets a little louder. I initiate because deep down, I don't trust that anyone would ever come if I didn't make them come. That is the wound I want to speak to tonight. Not the exhaustion, the thing underneath it. So tonight I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually let it land instead of bracing against it. What if the first step was never your task to carry? Not because you're doing it wrong, not because you're too much or not enough or asking too hard for something simple. I mean something gentler than that. What if, somewhere along the way, you picked up an assignment that was never given to you, and you've been carrying his work and yours both, and calling the exhaustion your own fault? The first step was never your job. God gave that job to him, and God has already set it in motion. Let me show you a woman who reached the edge of this exact thing. And let me show you the 2 words she was told that changed everything she thought her part was supposed to be. You know Ruth's story in pieces, the field, the harvest, the kindness of a stranger. But there's a chapter that gets walked past more than any other, and it's the one you need tonight. By the 3rd chapter, Ruth has already done her waiting. She has been faithful in the field, day after ordinary day, with nothing dramatic to show for any of it. And yet when the moment finally asked something specific of her, she was ready, because faithfulness in the empty days had quietly become readiness for the day that mattered. Her mother-in-law tells her it's time for one small covered thing. Go to the threshing floor at night and let Boaz know she is there. A quiet signal, nothing more. Not a campaign, not a pursuit. One dignified sign, given under covering, and then nothing else. And notice that, because it matters, Ruth did do one thing. She wasn't passive. She let herself be seen. This was never a message that you should hide, that you should never let a man know you exist, that to be wanted you have to vanish. No, you can let yourself be seen. But look at the size of what she did. Her part was a small, covered, dignified signal, and then she stopped. His part was to get up, go to the gate, confront the obstacle, gather the witnesses, and settle the whole thing in public. Those 2 things are not the same size. They were never the same job. The signal is small and quiet. The move is total and complete. Hers was to be seen. His was to settle it. And here is where I need you to slow all the way down, because what happens next is the whole of what I want to give you tonight. After the signal, after she has done the one small thing asked of her, Boaz tells her something. He says, "Sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will fall, for the man will not rest until he has settled it this very day. Sit still, the hardest 2 words in the chapter. Because everything in her wants to manage what happens next, wants to go and make sure it gets done. And he tells her, no, your part is finished. I will not rest until it is settled, not you. This is not passivity. Scripture has another name for this kind of waiting. Be still and know that I am God, the Psalm says. And sitting still has never meant doing nothing. It means trusting a settlement that is already moving, in hands that were never yours to operate. Watch what happens after she goes home. While she sits in the house, the sun comes up across the city, and the man gets up and walks to the gate. He gathers the witnesses. He names the obstacle out loud in front of everyone. There was another man, first in line, with more legal claim to her future than Boaz had. And when the cost was laid out plainly at the gate, that man looked at what it would take, and he calculated. And he stepped back. I cannot redeem it, he said, lest I damage my own inheritance. He did not move. Do you see the difference between the 2 men? It was never about what Ruth did. She gave the same small, quiet signal toward the situation either way. The one with the most claim, the most obligation, is the one who weighed what it would cost him and pulled back. And the one with less right and more willingness is the one who didn't hesitate for a second. The wrong man counts the cost and recedes. The man God is moving does not recede when the cost becomes clear. And the only thing that ever told her which man was which one got up and walked to the gate. That is exactly what your initiating steals from you. When you make the first move, when you carry it and fund it and force it forward, you don't necessarily lose him. It's quieter and worse than that. You contaminate the only evidence God was trying to hand you, whether he would have moved at all, on his own, without you pushing him there. Because the man who would step back and the man who would run to the gate look completely identical if the woman runs to the gate herself and drags them both through it. You cannot read the movement of a man you never once let move. The only way you ever find out which man is standing in front of you is to sit still long enough to see who gets up. So, this is why the order is not cruelty. It is protection. The first move is his, because his move is the evidence, and that cuts both ways, and both ways are mercy. If he moves, you get to know, really know, that this is a man God is moving toward you. And if he doesn't move, you get to know that too, and you get to know it early. Before you've poured years into a gate you were dragging him through. A man who gets up and goes is a gift. And a man who stays seated, who counts the cost and recedes, is also a gift, a hard one, but a gift because watching a man not move is information you would never have gotten if you'd never stopped moving for him. To see him clearly, you have to stop pushing him. Both outcomes are God protecting you. Neither one is proof that you are unworthy. Both are him telling you the truth in time. Here's the deepest part, the part underneath everything else. You might think his moving depends entirely on a decision happening somewhere out of your sight, resting on nothing but his own will. But Scripture tells you who is actually behind the moving. Philippians chapter 2 verse 13 says, "It is God who works in you, both to will and to do,